Hey, good morning, friends. Welcome to Empires and Puzzles. Misty morning, interesting day, foggy morning, but let's see if there is any fog inside here. So it's Soul Exchange exactly as shared by the people who mined it and got the exact heroes, but at the same time, even the order in their respective tiers correct. So there you are. I think it's Soul Exchange number 13 or 14. We'll find out. I think I have it somewhere. So, yeah, the first Soul Exchange of 2025. I was checking the forums yesterday. Very rare this time that I have not been interactive on the forums. And what I saw is there's not too much enthusiasm about heroes. While some are looking forward to it, this time it was a higher number that wasn't much enthusiastic. So let's go through the numbers and the heroes in the tiers. By numbers, I meant details. And see if there is anything worth looking at in this Soul Exchange. In the tier of 10 heroes, this time I can actually tap the hero card. So yeah, I will start with the disclaimer that hero exchange includes heroes that are relatively older, and hence their stats are going to be old, which means low stats compared to the stats that we are used to today. And hence, I'm going to do the max preview. You'll require whichever hero you choose to give all resources, that is the LB2s and the 25 emblem nodes, and you'll arrive at some kind of a respectable figure or usable figure. I wouldn't even call it respectable. It's a little notch lower than the respectable. Usable stats, which will make your hero deployable. Workable or not is something that you'll find out because RNG might contribute a little bit, but deployable. And if you're looking at using any of the heroes on defense, of course, all the heroes can be deployed on offense. But for defense, there are a couple of heroes that will be useful, and I will speak about them. They enjoy the benefit of their costume, which will help improve their stats via the costume bonus route. Having said that, let's dive in. So Mortimer, he's part of the Beach family. I think he arrived 2 years back. Unique Dark Element hero. So I'm going to go by the tiers. So Dark Element hero, he's an impact 3, very clearly, 480% damage to the target and minor damage to the nearby. Then target nearby enemies get silenced. So he's the silencer at average speed, can be functionally made fast, and hence he has his utility. The cast and nearby allies resist new effects that block use of special skills for 3 turns. So and that's also a brilliant special. So all 3 specials are useful, and it was really interesting to see a seasonal hero have this kind of special. But well, once in a while, I think a good one slips through. So he was one. The only thing is he did not show up after that initial part. So not too many people have him, but the ones who got him used, and he was irritating initially, but then the power creep was already on in full swing, and crazier heroes arrived and Mortimer got sidelined. So he has his uses. You saw the max preview numbers, damage over time on the special. He's got a water damage over 2 turns as one of the passive, and there is resistance against water damage. So that's a very niche and a limited passive. So not much over there. Beach family bonus is for 1 plus heroes. So minus 20, 40, or 60% damage received from damage over time status. So it's again very, very niche damage over time status, not the regular. So that's a little stupid for my understanding, but it is what it is. So that's Morima. The queen, if I remember well, had shown up earlier. She shows up again. Extremely low stats, but she has her utility. Sorcerer, part of the Journey family. So bonus is available to 1, 2, 3 fellows. 50, 75, 100% chance to increase the duration of each status effect cast by the hero by 1, 2, 3. So if she is deployed herself, then she has this 50% possibility to increase her buff by 1 turn. Deals, so impact all, deals 330% damage to all enemies. This was really a cool thing, is still a cool thing. Stats are the only drawbacks. All allies get 10% mana every time an enemy uses their special skill. Now, this was really cool because enemy has to use the special skill to deal with her. So, all allies would keep charging up much faster. And the last portion of the specialist caster gets Vengeance buff for 4 turns. If Vengeance is dispelled by a special skill, all enemies receive 525 damage. So, there you are. This is complete crazy when she arrived, really chased, and she was, of course, useful on offense, but massively useful on defense. So, for for farming and regular play, non-competitive play, I find impact all heroes extremely useful, and hence off late, of course, mega minions have started running the show. So if there is an impact all hero combined with mega minion, impact all damaging hero, that's the one that I prefer. So that's how Armand is priceless. She is useful. Stats are the drawback, but otherwise this special is pretty good. Nima, clearly 2-year-old, so 2023 Hero of the Month. She came with a bang because a lot of teams put her on defenses. So that's where we get to see a lot of the heroes. I haven't leveled her up. I think she's at 370 if I remember well. Of course, she has this particular benefit that is available on defense via the Legends family bonus. Character special skill is not affected by taunt. I don't understand what that means. And resist special skill blocking, which is a good passive to have. Old hero, stats there. Average speed, impact all, 250% damage to all enemies. Summons a fire tiger or tiger fiend for all enemies. And what does the fiend do? The usual stuff that the fiend does: damage, health absorption. But when summoned, the fire tiger or tiger fiend's target cannot cast any new taunt status effects for as long as the tiger fiend exists on the target. This cannot be cleansed, but Argo can convert the fiends into minions. So yeah, that's there. And then we've got the element link giving all fire allies, which is now available to everybody. If there are 2 heroes of the month from 2023 family, so plus 10% special skill damage for 4 turns. Nima. Now, this fiend part used to be painful, but then I look forward to seeing her unless RNG is terrible, which is a very rare situation. Those fiends are extremely useful while using a weapon called Arco. There are other fiend solutions, so she can be easily and quickly solved. Going to Kettle arrived, I think, in the first batch of the goblins. So, yes, there is excitement to see a goblin over here. Cleric Ice Fellow. We have this famous goblin family bonus, which is available to 1, 2, and 3. Each time this hero takes damage from an enemy's special skill, removes 50, 75, or 100% boosted health from all allies. This is a nightmarish thing when you have boosted, even a tiny boosted health. In today's meta, where damage is insane. So that's an irritation. Not the only irritation. Here's the second one. Passive. 60% chance to perform the following actions, which is deal 90% damage when opposite this caster casts special skill. So that's the damage. And enemies get minus 25% accuracy for 3 turns. Now it says 60%. My experience is basically all the time these jokers, goblins, cast this. Now, why? Well, it says every time there is a 60% chance. So it turns, in my experience, it has been 90%. Very rare occasion. I feel, oh my God, the guy forgot it looks like. So that's that. But both are useful. You can see that when the goblins arrived, their stats were pretty decent, even though they arrived long back. So they're a little higher. Dubious Cuisine, slow speed fellow, and that's where his use is limited, but his specials are nothing to go on. There is randomness, so cook random food for a special, so a player is not in control of which special gets fired, and hence these specials are not something great to put to use because yes, the first one is good, 50% health recovery and growth. All allies get 400 defense, but we don't know what's going to come. Rotten food deals 350% damage to all enemies, and there's a poison damage over turn, which is a sizable number, but we don't know. And the last one, kitchen failure, deals 100% damage to all allies and all enemies. Now it's a tiny damage, but it's irritating to lose on a slow speed hero a turn of the hero getting charged full mana, because getting the hero charged itself is a challenge, and the hero charges and there is a catastrophic kitchen failure. So really stupid. Why give 2 decent specials and include this? I mean, how does this hero serve any purpose for that matter? I'm going to skip that and move to Heimdall, and this is a costume. How do I know that? Because I can see the costume. So for those who are still confused, when you can see the costume in here, you know that the costume is available when you choose this hero. Okay? If the costume is not seen, but when you click max preview, you are shown inclusive of the costume, that's the assumption that is false. So without the max preview on, when I can see the costume, the hero is available. Excuse me. So Heimdall costume version is available. Obviously, one knows what the first one does, so I will speak about the costume. It's on, and hence stats are a bit better. And also, Heimdall was the first costume that I took from the outfitter. So, since I occasionally use Heimdall now, but I have used him for a good portion of 2.5 years non-stop. I wanted stats boost and took him. Now, what does the costume provide? Each defeated ally has 50% chance to get revived with 20% HP. Now, that 50% chance is a pretty high number. Yes, the speed is slow, but it's still a high number. Then there is a 50% attack buff for 4 turns to all allies. So that's useful. And there is 672 boosted health over 4 turns generation. So that also is useful, though 672 boosted health doesn't mean squat these days. So when you look at the original, there was a straight 500 boosted health for all allies. And imagine this came 5 years back. This was god level stuff. Reviver with a boosted health. Changed my full gaming experience. I got him in the first portal when he arrived. And I think on day one, I was shocked. I was absolutely amazed seeing heroes revive, even though the revival was quite low because it's a small percentage of 20% chance, but still, revive is revive. So I've enjoyed that. He's been part of many of our journey. So many players out there will relate to this. So Heimdall is extremely useful when you're going to use him as a strategic weapon for revival and for boosted health. So that's that. No, sorry, for attack boost, I meant, not boosted health. Boosted health is a tiny bonus available. So I don't know how relevant he is, but if you're using 2 healers as part of your strategy, then Heimdall becomes extremely beneficial because then healing burden is reduced on him and he is taken for the revival and the attack boost aspect, and that helps. So that's Heimdall. I have spoken about this particular tier. I'll move to the next tier, and in the end, I'll pick my heroes from the tier if there is anyone worth picking up. So that's tier of 10. Let's move to the tier of 15 heroes. I made a video of this guy, the Dark Bear from the Journey family. We know the Journey family bonus because I just showed it during the Queen's conversation. So yes, this is a dark fellow, and we use dark tanks still in war and various other formats. So there is something unique that happened, and that's what I've shown in the video that I posted yesterday. I found one of my alliance mates having him, so I quickly made the video using friendly battle. The benefit of the friendly battle is I can try multiple. I have 5 tries, and I think 3 tries is like what I quickly did and moved off. So that is something that you can actually see that he has got buffed. I wasn't aware. I recently got aware of that because he is in my roster. I have not leveled him up. I will leave it at that for each one to see because each one can derive personalized value from this fellow. What does he do? Average speed reduces max health of all enemies by 800 over 4 turns. If it was not over 4 turns but instantaneous, this guy would be a top pick in this soul exchange. But as part of the design, earliest, when the first time he came, he was impacting 3, which targeted nearby. Now he's impacting all enemies. So there is a buff that he has received, a redesign, rebalance. Then he's regenerating 800 booster health over 4 turns. So yes, that is useful, good number, but over 4 turns is 200 per turn, doesn't mean much. Then in the test video, this was the part which was interesting. All enemies get minus 24% in mana generation, so that's a painful thing. And all allies get plus 24% in mana generation. That's a useful thing, which is again painful for the enemy. So you will be able to see how much impact that had. I have used 3 different heroes to play around and showcased. So Taunt stopped the first portion of the special, and also the third portion of the special, which hampers enemies. Also the impact of the impact of the health reduction could be max health reduction could be seen because it's not something that is catastrophic suddenly that will scare you. It's tiny number that goes down. Why? Because number is not a percentage, but it's fixed. It's 200 per turn. From the time this fellow was launched till today, now heroes today arrive with 2200. 2000, 2100, 2200, 2300 HP, which means 200 reduction is basically negligible. So that's also a reality that has changed from the time this guy arrived and the time and today's times. So enough food for thought over there. Let's go to Winnie, the holy hero from the bear family. Has a passive mana buff when they receive a buff or a positive stack, and then recovers 5% health on the same logic. Buff or a positive stack. Bear family's bonus. All received defense status ailments will be replaced by respective buffs, and it's available to one hero. So she alone, when she travels, if that defense ailment comes in, she can convert it into four. She has a 40% defense buff for 3 turns. So she herself can enjoy that. Now she's a slow speed hero. What does she do? First thing, cleanses status ailments from all allies. Brilliant. Boosts health of all allies by 1200. Now this is a sensible deal. And without the max preview, you can see the numbers. They're fairly decent. This is also decent, but she's slow speed. So that helps to an extent. Then all allies resist max health reduction for 5 turns. So max health reduction is a very niche thing. Not many heroes have. So I don't rate it as something great. Then all allies get plus 60% defense as long as the caster has boosted health. So she boosts health of all allies by 1200 when she fires her special. And her boosted health is the key, because that is the reason that everybody else is going to get plus 60% defense buff. But you know what you can do. So that's Winnie. Sarandite. This is a hero that I still use, or till recently, I think till about a month back. No, till about 2 weeks back, I was using in my farming. So for almost 2.5 years, I've used Sarandite in my farming. And earlier, I used to use till about a year and a half back, I used to use Sarandite on my attacks also, whenever I was taking a fire team. So, laying it out there. Ninja family. So we have the ninja family bonus. You can see the stats. Ninja speed. What makes Sarandite extremely special is first mana charge, which is super fast, 2 matches, quickly charged, and impact all with 160% damage to all enemies. All enemies receive 256 burn damage over 2 turns, and all enemies get minus 64 decrease for any healing received for 2 turns. So I have used Serendite at first charge almost 9 out of 10 times that I have deployed her. That's it. She sets the ball rolling with the damage, healing, reduced healing ailment, and the burn damage. 3 painful things. So opposite team trying to do, because what do the teams do? They try to cause damage. They try to heal, to stay alive, to keep causing damage and win the battle. The 3 specials tackles that in very clear ways. So that's what makes Sarandite extremely special. This is her max preview. So I still rate her to be useful, or him. I think Sarandite, so it's a she. So that's that. As you move to the specials further, 275% damage, burn damage increases, and healing also. This, of course, has its own impact. The burn damage has an impact when you provide LBs and raise this hero higher. So the number goes up. You can see the number significantly goes up. And also in the last charge, the damage goes to 340% damage to all enemies, and the burn damage and healing. So Sarandite is somebody that is special because impact all and all three portions of a special are useful. Water pipe, dream of many, and many have already planned to pick this fellow up because he has been pain in the blah since arrival and even today occasionally. So part of the Plains Hunter family. Unfortunately, the bonus is not available to one hero, so the attack buff alone, if he's there, doesn't work. The ability to drop the damage to one, and the second portion is that pokey 150 damage, which can be stack up to 1500 damage in total. BS, but okay, it makes a difference once in a while. Very, very old stats. Average speed, summons a Harpoon Sentry minion for each ally with 12% HP and 20% attack. So the HP and attack doesn't matter. What matters is what these frickin' Harpoon minions do. They reduce mana of the target by minus 5%. That irritating tiny minus 5%. Especially when the heroes are mana full and they are going to fire and the minion comes and gives them a kiss, taking away the mana. So that's why everybody loves Water Pipe. He slows the opposite team down. Of course, it's random, but still slowing down. The target gets minus 30% defense. These are the ailments after the kiss. And again, special skill for 2 turns. And target is immune to new status effect buffs for 2 turns. So mana reduced and 2 badass ailments put. So that's Water Pipe, impact all. But is he so relevant today? We come down to the nature hero, Moth. Again, when you look at it, the costume is available. And hence, when you choose this hero, she's going to arrive along with her costume. Sun family available to 1 and 2. You know what this does. The key point I want to highlight is the stats impact. So there is a costume bonus available. And Mark being a season 5 hero, so she has been around for about a year and a half, 2 years. And the benefit is her stats have become fairly improved because of the costume bonus. Then there are additional passives. Original had only this version, so no costume bonus, and there was a passive. But the costume has got this passive, which is 50% chance to deal 70% damage to all enemies, and all enemies get minus 34% attack ailment for 3 turns. Now that's a passive, 50% chance. There is this. When this character casts their special skill, any of their passive skills that grant extra effects can cast can have 3 chances to activate. This character gains 5% mana each time an enemy casts a special skill that directly boosts health. So that's very niche and conditional. So I wouldn't lay too much emphasis on that, but it's always useful. She's fast speed. So speeds are up further. But this is the one that can be irritating. Going forward, fast speed, straightforward, simple hero deals 220% damage to all enemies. Impact all. All enemies get minus 35% damage defense for 3 turns. So there's a defense down element given to all. And the last portion, all fire enemies get minus 20% attack for 3 turns. When you look at the original, this is a rare scenario where the damage has gone up for all, defense down has gone up, it's increased, otherwise they've been decreasing it. The attack ailment has been decreased a little bit. Doesn't matter. Now, what is special about this? She is giving defense down and attack down ailment. Extremely useful impact all hero. And she recently got a buff. So, that is useful. That's your tier 15 heroes. We move to the last tier. Deadboot. We have another goblin available in this portal. This one is in tier 20. We know what this does. We also know what this irritatingly does. Because this fellow is fast speed, very fast speed, the percentage is 30%, and still I think it is almost every time. So I'm not joking. I'm sure everybody has experienced the goblins. Now, moving forward, steals all dispellable buffs from the target and randomly distributes them on allies. So from one target, steals the random buff. If there is a taunt, then he steals the taunt. If it's stealable or dispellable. Deals 375% damage to the target and deals additional 50% damage per transferred status effect buff, up to 625% damage in total. So conditionally, he can snipe. 625 is a decent number. Of course, dated stats. So now it's not crazy, but of course, if you'll get Deadboot, you will be doing LB2 and plus 25. So that will be useful and helpful. The last portion, which comes in extremely handy on Titans and Mythic Titans, is, and also regular heroes, but Titans and Mythic Titans, because he's an Impact 1 fellow. So from that particular perspective, Wither, the target gets minus 300 defense, and this keeps stacking up. So that helps. That's why you see this fellow on the Mythic Titans. These days, people don't show the Titan unless somebody is sharing a Titan hit. But Mythic Titan, you can always see what's the team that has been used, and you'll find this fucker there. Let's go to the next one, Kushanku. Now, he is a ninja. I never got the feeling of him being a ninja, except that thing that he is holding. Yoda. We know this bonus. And his special is Impact 1. Deals 280% damage to the target. Caster goes into hiding for 2 turns. These hiding heroes are absolutely useless. Unless they are impacting all, then there is some kind of a value possibility, but otherwise they are useless. When hidden, the caster cannot receive new status effects or stacks, and all received damage is reduced by minus 20%. When the caster comes out of the hiding, deals 227 damage to all enemies who use special skills while the caster was hiding. Target automatically casts mindless attack on a random ally for 2 turns. So a lot of stuff written, but none of it is of much use. Yes, this happens at very fast speed, 2 matches, but if it was Impact 3, that would still make some amount of sense. Impact 1, nah, doesn't make any sense. Mana Charge 2, still Impact 1. Mana Charge 3, Impact 1. I will leave it at that. Of course, there is an increase of damage to all enemies who use special skills with max. But I doubt he has any deservance of being in this tier. The deservance is decided by overall offering and the tier offering. So you will get to see how things are. Red element, which is fire element hero, Black Kaiser. I used to call him Caesar till I realized that it's written Black Kaiser. So, I have a sniffy nose, so excuse me for that. And I'm having blueberry tea. Very weird, but it's really cool. So what does Black Kaiser do? He's a cleric, so a lot of protection available from irritating ailments via the talent route. However, he's a pirate, and pirate is one of the early gangs that was introduced in the game, and that's why they still are suffering the reason for themselves being vintage old by not having one hero family bonus. Small Giants is still sleeping on this. They're doing some player friendly baby steps, but this really, it shows ignorance. There is a passive innate resistance against incoming damage from special effects. No, not special effects, status effects. Okay, having said that, his stats are pretty decent, which means he is offering to throw the cat amongst the pigeons and make people pick someone if you're not planning to pick, because, and you can see the stuff. So, of course, his attack numbers are a little low, but his defense and health numbers are, I would say, pretty decent. Whoa, why? Whoa, that sounded really funny. So, why is he a good choice to consider? Because he's an impact all damage 335% to all enemies. Then he summons this pirate skeleton fiend. That's a high attack number, does the same stuff, but gives minus 45% attack to its owner for as long as the owner has the pirate skeleton fiend. So, impact all does the fiend thing, and the ailment of attack keeps the team a little safe for maybe a turn or two by reducing the impact of the power punch that comes from opposite, and that helps. So, for the strategy. Odette, I did make a video of Kaiser and also Odette, so that should be able to help. But they've been around, so you would have faced also. But for those who haven't, you can go and check those videos out. It's there on the channel. And this is the hero that had me excited when she arrived, part of the Opera family. So she came with the Phantom. Bonus available to 1, 2, 3 heroes is an excellent bonus because you have the attack, defense, and HP percentages going up, and that's extremely useful. There is a passive of resistance against status ailments, negative stacks that affect defense. Doesn't apply to elemental defense though. And then the second passive is character receives 10% health each time a status ailment expires or is cleansed, removed, or reallocated from them. This, of course, can activate only once per turn. So, having said that, her numbers are not terribly low, but still, I'm talking about the defense and health. So, 1300 is at least 150 numbers low. If I'm looking at the current fellows are going up to almost 15, 1600 also, some of them, especially support heroes. So they are crossing 1550 to 1600. So that's that. And same the health. Attack numbers, okay. So she will require LB2 and full 25 to do what she's designed to do. Dance of the Swan, what does it do? Caster regenerates 609 HP over 3 turns. So, self heal. Caster gets plus 45% chance to dodge special skills that deal damage for 3 turns. Dodgy. All allies except the caster dance to the Dance of the Swan for 3 turns. And what does the Dance of the Swan do? Well, first thing I can tell you, it replaces all kinds of ailments or status effects, exactly like Gazelle. Gazelle removes the buffs that her allies have put, and Gazelle removes ailments that the enemies have put. So very, very clearly, she is providing the same kind of service to her allies. They all start dancing to the swan. There is a white swan there, and they start dancing. And then the impact. Impact is plus 45% chance to dodge attacks and special skills. Now, whenever there's written attacks and special skills, attacks can come from mega minions, minions, so that gets clearly managed. There's a 45% chance to dodge that. Why am I saying clearly manage? And the second part is dodging special skills. So if Fiend is being given apart from the damage, so both the damage and the Fiend can be dodged too. Now, the second portion of the special is 50% chance to deal 360 damage to 60% damage to a random enemy after any subsequent ally casts special skills. So all the dancers have both these options available, and that's how there are bam bam bang bangs happening, and she becomes a lethal support hero. Not many have her, so that's why she hasn't shown up in too many defensive. And of course, the meta just changed with the kind of heroes that are coming. So there are crazier options available for defense. So she's there. There might be still players using her on offense, but we can't see unless there are tournament videos and war videos. But in general, we get to face certain heroes on defense, and she, being a support hero, is useful on defense. The only problem is her defense related utility is limited because she wipes out all the other buffs. She doesn't collaborate, and hence that becomes a handicap for the team, because these days multiple, I mean, not multiple heroes, but heroes come with multiple specials, which includes buffs, giving ailments, and also damage. So she negates certain portions of her allies' benefits that could come to the other allies, but she for sure gets, because she's not the one dancing. So if there is an ally giving any kind of a benefit in the form of heal, buff, or whatever, she gets it. If the ally is impact 3, then place her next to that ally, or impact all, then the ally being just deployed ensures that buff comes to her if the dance is on. If the dance is not on, then of course it's a regular time for everything. So that's Odette. Going to the last hero in this tier and also in the offering, Ziamara. Ziamara is part of the Stag family. Bonus available to 1, 2, 3 heroes. All status ailments connected to attack are replaced by 40, 60, 70% attack buff, which is fantastic. And this is available to 1 to 3 heroes. Ziamara, uncomplicated, straightforward. She's a cleric, so there is some protection via the talent route. And there is a passive of recovering 5% health when they receive a buff or positive stat. Her stats are still, I would say, decent. That's your max preview. So that's really good to see. She's still 100, 150, or maybe even 200 behind the current big guns. But it is what it is. Power of the Forest at average speed deals 300% damage to all enemies. So she's impact all. The caster gets additional plus 100% power for the next special skill they cast, which means she gets a buff to herself. The additional power increases plus 25% each turn up to a maximum of 200% in total. So when it's maxed out, the damage dealt is 500% damage to all enemies. All enemies receive mana corruption for 4 turns. So they'll be given a mana corruption ailment. And each time an afflicted enemy receives mana from additional source, they receive 400 damage. Mana added for defense team at the end of their turn or from matching tiles activates the mana corruption only if the target has mana generation buff or a positive mana generation stack. The if you are attacking a team on defense, the regular mana that comes from defense will not be considered for the mana corruption punishment, ailments punishment. But if there is any kind of a buff that is going to enhance that particular mana, then it's eligible for the whack. Mana additions from other sources always activate mana corruption, of course. So only the defense related regular mana that the game design provides is not affecting or activating the mana corruption penalty. So that's Ziamara. So we have got now whew, these 15 heroes, and I have spoken about all of them. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Maybe it's the morning thing, and because I'm not having coffee, I'm having hot tea. I'm still groggy. So, okay, let's skip all that. In the first, which is 10 hero tier, which are the heroes worth looking at? Very clearly, I am going to be in favor of Heimdall. Worth a look. If you're looking for a reviving healer, he is a good tool to have, and you can alternate between this. The benefit of his stats being decent comes from the family bonus. You can see it in the max preview. It's not terribly low. The other hero that can actually cause some kind of an irritation is this fellow, because he silences and also resists special skill blocks. So that's it. She pretty, but you can actually see with the max preview, and I'm maintaining the max preview because that'll give you some reality. So now this discussion is going to be with the max preview, a rare situation in my hero talk, but you can actually see how low the numbers are. So if you have a specific requirement of an impact all, you can look at her, but even this Aether power of Fiend Resist is not something crazy, but it is what it is. So these are the two heroes I'm going to say. They can be useful if you're looking at specifically that element in that budget of 10 heroes. But it's basically Mortimer and Heimdall, and Heimdall is my first nudge. Mortimer, good mention depending on what you require. Moving to the 15 heroes tier, he is an impact all, but that reduction over turn, boosted health over turn, I didn't find them to be really beneficial or a danger. The irritation came from the minus 24% mana gen ailment, and that minus 24% mana ailment ensures that everybody is slowed down amongst the enemies, and hence this reduction of max health gets an opportunity to run at least a turn or two more. So that was something that you'll see in the video, but not mind-boggling, game-changing, worth giving tabards, because there are way better heroes available. Winnie slow speed is handicap limiting, but I like the special, and it has its uses. There's too much stuff going on. Serendite, brilliant special, absolutely brilliant special, and will require all the resourcing to be able to provide services, and she is pretty badass. This is low, beware of that. Water pipe is the smoke screen for me, because nah, never been a pain, never been a problem, except when he was just newly introduced into the game. So was extremely irritating for the first 3 to 4 months or maybe 6 months. But nah. The queen of this tier is Marth because her stats are fairly close to the current stats with the benefit of this. And she's an impact all, and all her three specials are useful, which is damage to all, defense down to all, and specific fire allies get minus 20% attack for 3 turns. She's providing a 50% chance to damage all, so if combined with this, it becomes 290% damage to all enemies 50% of the times. And of course, the attack element is given to all, which is minus 34%. That's why the last portion is useful, but the fire guys will, as it is, get a higher number from above. So I don't know why they've introduced this, but then that's 50%, and that's why this is included. Having said all that, in this tier, it's clearly Marth, and I would rate Sarandite from an attack perspective. And if you're looking at a support hero, Vinny is decent with investment and will do her job. But if I have to pick two, and I'm going to aim to pick two with special mention, a thing I have recently learned, then it's going to be Marth and Sarandite. We'll move to the last tier. There are 5 fellows. Deadboot has the uses of debuffing and also Titan, Mythic Titan, Big Bangs, but you don't pick a hero for that reason. Kushanku, absolute no. I may get an occasional fellow jumping around and saying, how dare he say no to Kushanku? I am picking up Kushanku, and how dare he say no? Well, if you're picking up Kushanku, you have a specific requirement of Kushanku. Don't bug me with your, why the hell did you say that about Kushanku? Because he is useless, full stop. Compared to these fellows, he's not useless as a hero. He's useless according to the vintage and according to the offering in this tier. That's it. So Black Kaiser is useful. Stats low, but is doing quite a few things and can get things rolling. Odette will require everything. That special is useful, though times have changed. And Ziamara, the queen of this particular zone, still has got good attack numbers, though the numbers now are touching 1750 or even 1800 in a rare case. I like the Aether power, and yeah, I have to constantly remind myself that okay, it's okay, because over here the message to everybody watching is that you'll require to give LB2 and 25 emblems. So showing those numbers is important. So yeah, she has a brilliant special. I did get her fairly early, but then I use her sparingly because I have certain other options. But when I take her for a spin, she delivers brilliant. She just puts the hammer down. So yes, excellent hero. So in this particular tier, I'm going to mention 3 to look at. First, clearly this one, Ziamara. Then is going to be this one, who's going to come in handy in multiple scenarios. Deadboot is very fast, so will charge up faster. He has almost a snipey damage, and of course dispels, steals, distributes. So buffs, so really handy in many scenarios. And that wither, so you can basically start priming up targets even in attack, because you will have a very fast hero charging up in 2 matches with the appropriate troops, and hence those ailments are uncleansable unless you have got the garrison guards deployed, so they will cleanse it. So Deadboot is extremely useful. And of course Odette. So you have a good support hero option at average speed. So she is providing excellent support. Dodge is still a brilliant support, and it's for herself. She has a bit of a healing going through, and damage also. So she is supporting damage apart from the regular damage that her allies will provide. They will also, while dancing, a 50% chance to deal 360% damage to a random enemy after any subsequent allied special skill. And we know how useful Hippo is. So, this is somewhat like that. And the dodge has a lot of survival built into it. And we know how irritating dodges are. So, that's it. See if you require a red, then impact all is useful. I will leave it at that. So that's the soul exchange. I will, of course, pick up the hero that I have identified and hence set it up and come back. Got the heroes ready. She's the one that I'm taking. I will not level up Black Kaiser because I won't use him. Siamara I use sparingly. I was seriously thinking about her. Will I use her? I don't have her. So even the original version, I don't have her. So she could be extremely useful. But then I've got a massive crowd of these green fellows. But she can be extremely useful too. I'm going to go with the hero that adds fun, because I have other greens also that I can actually level up. So Odette is the one that I'm picking up so that she can be paired with some opera fellows. And the benefit will be this bonus. If 3 are deployed, then it's 15 attack, 15 defense, and 15 HP, 15% that activates, and that comes in handy. So that's it. These are the fellows I'm letting go. Ciao. Ballerina, welcome to the roster. There you are. Good luck making your decision, and catch you in the next video. Cheers.